Sorry about that. The computer died on me here, but as I was saying here with the Bears and Chiefs game here. Yeah, Mahomes was fantastic. 6 of 7, 60 yards touchdown drive there. Dustin Crum, he's another guy, like I said, out of the MAC, went to Toledo there. 6 of 11, 18 yards, not many yards, but it's good completion percentage. 3 carries, 28 yards for Crum as well. Chad Henne didn't have to do too much in this game, 2 for 3, 10 yards. Treston Ebner, the leading rusher in the game, 6 carries, 31 yards. Did not see him run too much at Baylor, at least not. I didn't anyways. More of a receiving threat, which he caught a 12-yard touchdown in this game. So there you go. Chiefs couldn't get anything on the ground at all. Dustin Crum was the leading rusher for them. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Isaiah Pacheco, the leading actual running backs, 6 yards each off 2 carries each. Reception and 5 yards chipped on for Pacheco there. I love Isaiah Pacheco. I just sent a trade in for him in my one dynasty league. Hopefully I can get him. I think he's going to be good. And I think he's going to supplant Ronald Jones as the RB2 to start the season. And maybe CE8 struggles again and Pacheco gets an opportunity. Justin Watson, I heard a lot of people hyped up about him. 5 catches, 45 yards and a touchdown. For the former Buck in Kansas City. Guy not many people are talking about in that receiver room where they added Juju and other guys. Daz Newsome scored for the Bears, 13-yard touchdown there. Blake Bell scored a 5-yarder for the Chiefs. And my defensive player of the game is Trayvon Coley for the Bears. Defensive tackle, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, a pass deflection, and 3 quarterback hits. The Bills beating the Colts 27-24. Matt Barkley was great. 224, 75% completion, and did have a pick, however. There's a lot of good quarterback play, actually, in this game. Case Keenum was not good. 86 yards. He threw 2 picks and had a fumble. So I think Barkley has the inside track. Now, they traded for Keenum, I believe, this offseason. If they didn't, they just signed him straight up. But just off this game, I don't know. I haven't heard of how camp is going for both of these guys. But it seems like Matt Barkley has the upper hand on Case Keenum to get the number 2 QB spot for the Buffalo Bills. Sam Ehlinger was fantastic for Indianapolis. 10 of 11, 90.9% completion, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, 139.6 QB rating. Also chipped on 4 carries, 24 yards as well. Nick Foles was pretty decent, but just like Case Keenum, he turned it over twice. 1 pick and a fumble for Nick Foles. He got strip sacked. I know I saw that play in the highlights. 72 yards, 7 of 11 for Nick Foles there. Matt Ryan was decent, 60%, 58 yards. No touchdowns there. And Jack Cohn, 1 of 5, not great for the undrafted rookie there. 1 of 5, 0 yards on that one completion. Zach Moss is going to make it hard for James Cook to supplant him as the number 2 running back behind Devin Singletary. 3 carries, 37 yards, 12.3 yards per carry. Also had 2 catches for 5 yards there. Nyheim Hines trying to make that $8 million a year contract look good. 26 yards on 8 carries, 2 catches, 13 yards. Raheem Blackshear, though, had a whale of a game for the Bills. Undrafted out of Virginia Tech, 6 carries, 11 yards. Not great average, 1.8, but scored 2 rushing touchdowns. Power back in the red zone. Could be a role for him. 4 catches, 60 yards as well. So not just power, he can finesse and catch the ball. Soft hands there, 5 targets on for Blackshear. Tyson Williams, the forgotten guy from the Ravens. He scored a 15-yard receiving touchdown, had 5 carries, 10 yards as well. Khalil Shakir, I love Khalil Shakir. Boise State got rookie, 5 catches, 92 yards, 5 targets. Isaiah Hodgins had a great game. Oregon State rookie, 9 receptions, 77 yards, 11 targets there. Michael Pittman, leading receiver for the Colts, 2 catches, 30 yards. Jelani Woods, the rookie tight end out of Virginia, had a receiving touchdown. So did Michael Jacobson for Indianapolis. Defensively, I am going with the rookie linebacker Terrell Bernard for the Bills. 3 tackles, 2 of them solo, and a 69-yard fumble return for a touchdown. The Dolphins beat the Bucks 26-24. Kyle Trask looked decent. Great completion percentage, 75.8%, 258. 1 touchdown, but he did turn it over twice, a pick and a fumble, led to the Dolphins winning this on a game-winning Jason Sanders field goal. Skylar Thompson, this was probably the most intriguing quarterback game of all, the first week of preseason games. Skylar Thompson played the whole game. Tua did not play, and they also did not play his backup, who I'm blanking on who his backup is, because it's not the guys that have been there before. Is it Teddy Bridgewater? It is. Teddy Bridgewater did not play either. So Skylar Thompson, 7th round rookie out of Kansas State, got the whole game. And he did well. 71.4%, 218 yards, 1 touchdown, also had 3 carries, 25 yards. And unlike Trask, like I said, Thompson did not turn the ball over. Very, very good first showing for Thompson in this game. Blaine Gabbert was fantastic. 5 of 5, 56 yards. He led the Bucs on a scoring drive, threw a touchdown pass as well. Just shy of a perfect quarterback rating for Blaine Gabbert. Rashad White, rookie out of Arizona State, had a great game. 7 carries, 32 yards, 2 catches, 13 yards. He's looking to be the number 2 running back, which he is on the depth chart, and we'll talk more about him in the NFC South season preview. Myles Gaskin, leading runner for the Dolphins, 4 carries, 27 yards. Keyshawn Vaughn, he scored a rushing touchdown. Not great average, though, 1.9 rushing, 2 catches, 22 yards. Bucks looking for help at receiver. Tyler Johnson hoping he is the solution. 6 receptions, 73 yards, 12.2 average, and 7 targets. Lynn Bowden Jr. scored for the Dolphins. Jarrett Stearns, my Western Kentucky guy, Bailey Zappi's teammate at Western Kentucky and Houston Baptist before that. 4 catches, 51 yards, 12.8 average, and 1 touchdown on 4 targets. Jalen Darden, former North Texas Mean Green, 23-yard receiving touchdown there. Defensive player of the game, I'm going with Cam Gill for the Bucks. Linebackers, 4 tackles, all of them solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a quarterback hit. Texans beat the Saints 17-13. My guy, Davis Mills, perfect. 3 of 3, 100%. Completion, only 14 yards. He had a couple of drives, both 3 and outs. So that wasn't encouraging, but still perfect. So, got some work to do, but it's all right. The Saints defense, very good. I'm not sure how many starters they played in this game, but still playing most of the ones, I would have to think. Jeff Driscoll, pretty decent, but he did throw 3 interceptions, which ultimately, surprisingly, didn't cost the Texans the game. 17-13, like I said. 3 carries, 17 yards for Driscoll there. Ian Book, he had 2 turnovers, so the Saints were actually only +1 in the turnover battle there, in terms of the quarterbacks anyways. He has some development to do still, does Ian Book. Andy Dalton was perfect as well, 5 of 5, 51 yards and a touchdown drive for his only drive of the game. The guy in this game, Dameon Pierce, looked fantastic. 5 carries, 49 yards, 9.8 yards per carry there. Love Dameon Pierce in Dynasty, and possibly even as a late round flyer in redraft leagues, I think. Probably going to be the week 1 starter, I have to think. He's outplaying the likes of Rex Burkhead, Marlon Mack, and Phillip Lindsay. Abram Smith, rookie out of Baylor, led the way for the Saints on the ground, 7 carries, 30 yards. He did put the ball on the ground once, though. 1 reception, 12 yards. Dwayne Washington caught a receiving touchdown for New Orleans. Jalen Camp, second-year guy out of Georgia Tech, 2 catches, 53 yards and a touchdown. Dejon Dixon, Nicholls State product, leading receiver for the Saints this game, 3 catches, 33 yards on 4 targets. And then Johnny Johnson, Oregon product, 1 touchdown reception to go along with 2 catches on 25 yards and 3 targets. Defensive player of the game for me, Derek Rivers, defensive end for the Texans, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. Broncos, 17-7 win over the Cowboys. Josh Johnson was great, 16 of 23, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns for the journeyman, who outplayed Brett Rippon, 8 of 18, 113 yards there. Terrible completion percentage, 44.4%. Josh Johnson, I think, has the leg up to be Russell Wilson's main backup. Ben DiNucci, Cooper Rush, fighting to be Dak Prescott's backup. Cooper Rush had a pick. Ben DiNucci threw a touchdown. The Cowboys only won the game, as the Broncos were very good defensively all night. Up 17 nothing at halftime, I believe it was. Broncos scored in the third quarter, I think. But DiNucci had the only touchdown for Dallas. Malik Davis, 8 carries, 51 yards, 3 catches, 16 yards. Good workload for him, for that Cowboy running back. Stevie Scott III just signed last week for the Broncos, but he was the leading rusher for Denver. 6 carries, 20 yards, 3.3 average for the former Michigan Panther, USFL. Jalen Virgil, Appalachian State product, 3 catches, 83 yards on 5 targets for the Broncos. Kendall Hinton scored a touchdown. Brandon Smith led the way receiving yards wise for the Cowboys on a 40-yard reception. He's a rookie out of Iowa. Seth Williams scored for the Broncos. Simi Fehoko scored as well for the Cowboys, their only touchdown of the game. And defensive player of the game, easy here. Broncos linebacker Baron Browning, 4 tackles, 3 of them solos, a sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a QB hit. Rams over the Chargers, 29-22, Battle of LA. Bryce Perkins, pretty good. Didn't throw as much, 17 attempts the whole game, 58.8%, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns though. 3 touchdowns overall for Bryce Perkins, who had 8 carries, 39 yards, and a touchdown. Seems like every offseason, every preseason, we get to see Bryce Perkins. It's kind of like how we used to see Kyle Sloter with the Vikings every preseason for a couple of years there. Bryce Perkins getting the lead, all the touches for the LA quarterbacks for the Rams. Easton Stick Chase Daniel fighting to be Justin Herbert's number 1 backup option. Very similar stats. I would have to give the leg up to Chase Daniel, though. Only had 2 yards less than Easton Stick, but he scored 2 touchdowns, had a 22-yard run, which Chase Daniel, a older guy, did not see a 22-yard carry coming from Chase Daniel. But Easton Stick, threw a pick, made up for it with a rushing touchdown. Was not enough for the Chargers to win the game, however. Isaiah Spiller trying to become Austin Eckler's main backup, 10 carries, 34 yards, 1 reception for 10 yards there. AJ Rose scored a touchdown for the Rams. Lance McCutcheon, he was the story of the game, 5 catches, 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, 6 targets, trying to make the team here. Rookie, undrafted free agent out of Montana State, who went to the national championship last year, FCS national championship. Michael Bandy had a great game for the Chargers, 7 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown on 11 targets. Joe Reed scored for LA for the Chargers. And defensively, I am going with Chris Rumpf II for the Chargers. 4 tackles, all of them solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. And finally, the only game on Sunday, Raiders go to 2-0 in the preseason, 26-20 over the Vikings. Kellen Mond, I thought, looked a lot better. I didn't get to watch the game, but based off these stats, it seems like Kellen Mond looked a world better than what he looked last preseason. 9 of 14, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns there, no turnovers, which is I think is a big key for him. The Raiders still trying to figure out what their backup situation is going to be and is going to look like behind starter Derek Carr. Nick Mullins had the best stat line here, 77.8% completion, 94 yards, a touchdown, 2 carries, 9 yards as well. Jarrett Stidham, decent. He scored a rushing touchdown on 4 carries, 16 yards, 68 yards passing on 10 of 15. Garbers did not get as much opportunity in this game as last week in the Hall of Fame game, but still 2 of 3, 19 yards here. Sean Mannion, decent night, 79 yards, 8 of 12 passing there. Britton Brown, big night for him. The Raiders rookie, 1 of 2 rookie running backs for them. The guy taken later than Zamir White, 14 carries, 54 yards, and a rushing touchdown here, 2 catches, 7 yards as well. Ty Chandler in the Vikings' own rookie running back, 5 carries, 50 yards, very good there. DJ Turner for the Raiders led the way receiving, 3 catches, 58 yards, and a touchdown on 4 targets. Myron Mitchell was the leading receiver for the Vikings, 2 catches, 37 yards on 2 targets. And then Albert Wilson scored 2 touchdowns, 2 catches, 22 yards, and 2 touchdowns on 2 targets. Defensively, I am going with defensive tackle T.Y. McGill for the Vikings, 2 tackles, both of them solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. NFL news. We're starting off NCAA news. The AP preseason poll was announced. Of course, Alabama number 1. They have 54 first place votes. Ohio State 2, 6 first place. Georgia number 3. They have 3 first place votes. Those are the 63 first place votes handed out. Clemson 4. Notre Dame 5, Texas A&M 6, Utah 7, Michigan 8, Oklahoma 9, Baylor 10, Oregon 11, Oklahoma State 12, NC State 13, USC 14, Michigan State 15, Miami 16, Pitt 17, Wisconsin 18, Arkansas 19, Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 21, Wake Forest 22, Cincinnati 23, Houston 24, and BYU 25. Again, I'm just mad. No Penn State in the top 25. That's all right. They'll be ranked at some point this season, hopefully after week 1. But I don't think there's many surprises here. Surprised, probably Baylor, number 10, Oklahoma as well, number 9. I guess the AP believes a lot in Dylan Gabriel, transfer in from UCF. And Brett Venables gets him there. Utah at 7 is sort of a surprise, but the reigning Pac-12 champions, they are looking good in their preseason. Michigan at 8, reigning Big Ten champs there. Let's see. What else do we think is a surprise? USC 14. I mean, that's not very much of a surprise. We knew they're going to be ranked. A lot of people believe in Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams out there. Jordan Addison is pretty good guy to believe in as well. So Miami at 16. Tyler Van Dyke trying to take them to new heights. Pitt, I think, is too high. Keaton Slovis coming over from USC. They lost Jordan Addison. I'm just not sure how much offensive firepower Pitt is going to have this year. But we'll have to wait and see there. And Ole Miss 21. Let's see how they look without Matt Corral. Wake Forest 22. That is going to change, I think, in a hurry. I have never witnessed their new quarterback that they have, Sam Hartman. He is out indefinitely. Non-football medical condition. Wake Forest will severely miss him, and I think that will show when we talk about the ACC preview at the end of the show here. Cincinnati breaking in a new quarterback, Desmond Ridder gone, so we'll see how they look. And then BYU is a team I think I very much believe in. Jaron Hall, Kalani Sitake's hard to not believe in. So the Big Ten adding CBS and NBC to its broadcasting rights deal. They're going to be leaving Fox and ESPN when the new broadcast deal kicks in. ESPN moving to SEC. So CBS picking up the Big Ten, and they are going to have the 3:30 spot on Saturdays. LSU quarterback Miles Brennan, he's walking away from football after learning he wouldn't win the starting quarterback job. It's kind of a quitter's mentality. You don't get your way and then you quit. So sure, I know I read an article. Miles Brennan got a lot of money from companies that sign into NIL deals. And he will not be playing football, but it doesn't matter because he gets to keep that money. You cannot sign an NIL deal that bases your money off performance. College football playoff 2025. The college football playoff announced 2025. Their championship that year will be hosted back in Atlanta. They hosted the 2018 national championship. And then 2026, they will be back in Miami, Hard Rock Stadium. That is where the CFP national championship will be played in 2026. And just for reference, 2023, this coming season, it will be played at SoFi Stadium in LA. And 2024 will be played at NRG Stadium in Houston. XFL news. We have one tidbit here. The XFL has hired Jordan Palmer as its director of quarterback development. I think that's a major move there for the XFL. You know, he is, if not the one of the best quarterback trainers that many young quarterbacks have seen throughout their careers to help them work on stuff in the off season. I think it's going to give the XFL a leg up. We saw the quarterback play was not that great in the USFL. And so I think with Jordan Palmer being with the XFL, I think we're going to see a lot better quarterback play from whoever the quarterbacks are playing next spring. NFL news. The Bengals will no longer be playing at Paul Brown Stadium. They have sold their naming rights. Their stadium will now be called Paycor Stadium. Paycor is a human capital management company headquartered in Cincinnati. And they have been the team's HR software provider since 2018. So a lot different, I think, than the Steelers, right? The Steelers signed Acrisure to have their naming rights there. Acrisure is a Michigan company. But Paycor, they're headquartered in Cincinnati. They are a homegrown company. So completely different, I think. It's going to be weird not calling it Paul Brown Stadium. I'll probably slip up and call it that. But yeah, Paycor Stadium and now in Cincinnati. Bears linebacker Roquan Smith has requested a trade. Interesting note there. He represents himself. He is by far worth every single penny that he wants right now. And the Bears should definitely sign him and give him anything he wants. He's one of the best linebackers in the league. Top 3. So, yeah. I don't know what the Bears are doing, not paying him. It's a new regime. Maybe they don't want to spend that much on an off-ball linebacker, but he can do everything. Pass rush, cover, stop the run. Yeah. So, Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady, he has stepped away from the team. He's not going to be back with the team till after their August 20th preseason game. Yeah. He is talking about more work-life balance there. And his former teammate, running back James White, has retired. One of the greatest PPR fantasy running backs there ever was. 319 carries, 1,278 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 381 receptions, 511 targets, and 3,278 yards. 25 receiving touchdowns in the regular season. In the postseason, yeah, this is he absolutely shined. 36 carries, 146 yards, and 5 touchdowns on the ground. 59 receptions on 90 targets, 506 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns in the postseason. 3-time Super Bowl champ. He won Super Bowl 49 over the Seahawks, 51 over the Falcons, and 53 over the Rams. Crazy stat for him. Never lost a fumble in 8 seasons. And also, he scored 20 points in Super Bowl 51 to bring the Patriots back from down 28-3. And he is also the only person ever to score a walk-off touchdown in the Super Bowl, walking off by scoring a 2-yard touchdown run in Super Bowl 51, in the only Super Bowl to go to overtime. Yes, James White will be missed. But yeah, one of the best receiving backs that there probably ever was. I know definitely in my generation, one of the best ones. The Packers need 2 wins, 2 more wins than the Bears this season to surpass them on the all-time winningest franchise list. The Packers currently sitting at $782 wins. The Bears are at 783. So, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm not saying if, I'm saying when. It will happen this year, and they will surpass the Bears by quite a bit and continue to surpass the Bears as long as Aaron Rodgers is there. Couple milestones teams could hit this year. The Rams, Eagles, and 49ers will all go for their 600th win as for each of their franchises in week 1. I think probably most, if not all 3, will get there. The Colts with 7 wins could pass 550 franchise wins this year. The Browns need 9 to do that. The Cowboys would need 12 to get there. The Broncos need just 5 wins to get the win number 500 in franchise history. The Raiders need 9 to do that. And then the Bills just need a win week 1. They will get franchise win number 450. The Saints need 4 wins to get to franchise win 400. And then the Bucks need 9 wins to get to 300 franchise wins. And the Texans, while unlikely, they need 11 wins to get to 150 franchise wins there. So yeah, it's an interesting stat nugget, to say the least. Franchise wins there. But the Packers will become the winningest franchise in NFL history come this season. The Eagles, they will induct defensive ends Hugh Douglas and Trent Cole into their Hall of Fame on November 27th. That is a game against the Green Bay Packers. It is Sunday Night Football. So that is going to be a very good game for the Eagles to induct those 2 men into. Hugh Douglas, I don't know too much about. I know he is a great player for them. But Trent Cole grew up in that era. The 2000s Eagles defenses, number 58 was wreaking havoc on the NFC East. Eli Manning, Tony Romo, etc. Whoever was playing quarterback for Washington. But yeah, Trent Cole, very deserving, I think, up there high on the Eagles sacks list. Giants, they're inducting 7 players into their Hall of Fame this season. Running backs Joe Morris, Otis Anderson, and Rodney Hampton. Defensive end Leonard Marshall. Defensive back Jimmy Patton. Running back, wide receiver Kyle Rote. and Senior Vice President of Medical Services, Ronnie Barnes. I have no clue on many of those players. Otis Anderson's probably the only one I actually really know from the 90s Giants, 80s Giants, whatever. But yeah, I don't know many of the other guys there for the Giants Hall of Fame class this year. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson. We already talked about his contract situation, but he said he will stop negotiating. Represents himself. He will stop negotiating once week 1 comes around. And we'll talk about some of the cuts, but yeah, today at 4 p.m. Eastern was the first cut of the preseason, cut down from 90 to 85. Injury-wise, Jets offensive tackle Mekhi Becton, he's done for the year. He has an avulsion fracture on his kneecap, placed on IR today ahead of impending surgery. Saints quarterback Jameis Winston, he has a foot injury. I think he will be okay. Eagles center Jason Kelce might miss week 1. We're still waiting to see how he progresses, but he had elbow surgery for a scope cleanup in there. So 2 to 4 weeks was the initial time frame. We'll see. Cam Jurgens looked fantastic in his first game. So I think that will make Nick Sirianni feel a lot more comfortable about sitting Jason Kelce week 1. But if he's close, he'll play because he has that streak of starts going. Over 160, I believe, is what it's at. Browns wide receiver Jakeem Grant, he is done for the year. Torn Achilles, was going to be their main punt returner and kick returner there. So they will have to find someone else to do that this season. Bucks wide receiver Russell Gage, he has a hamstring injury. Haven't heard any progress on that. 49ers dealing with some corner injuries here. Travarius Ward, muscle strain. He's going to be out a few weeks. And then Emmanuel Mosley, he has a hamstring injury as well. So Niners thin at corner coming into preseason week 2. Bears wide receiver N'Keal Harry, he had tightrope surgery for his high ankle sprain. He's out around 8 weeks, so possibly going to be placed on IR once the season begins. Out the first 6 weeks, etc. Or out the first 3 weeks at the least. Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams, he is going to miss week 1. The Lions confirmed. So we'll have to wait to see when Jameson Williams will make his rookie debut this year. Coming off 20 ACL in the SEC championship game. In the national championship game. Giants left guard Shane Lemieux, he has a left toe injury. Was seen in a walking boot. Big blow to them if the Giants can't get him back for week 1. We'll have to wait and see on that. Ravens wide receiver James Prochet. He's out 1 to 2 weeks. He has a soft tissue injury there. Raiders tight end Darren Waller has a hamstring injury, isn't considered serious. More than likely he plays week 1. Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins, he tested positive for COVID. That's why he didn't play on Sunday. I think he will be back at practice this week. Falcons wide receiver Drake London, he has a knee injury. They said it isn't considered serious, but we're still waiting to hear if Drake London will be available for week 1. 49ers running back Elijah Mitchell, he has a hamstring injury, expected to go week 1, however. And like I said, I already mentioned the Zach Wilson situation and the Brandon Allen situation for Cincinnati. Couple of Eagles injuries here. Left guard Landon Dickerson, he has a sore foot. He is day-to-day currently. And defensive tackle Javon Hargrave has a toe sprain. Browns They are more than likely going to call up their old friend JC Treader, who is the president of the NFL Players Association, because they have lost two centers to season-ending injuries now. Center Nick Harris, he is done for the year, as is Dawson Deaton. Dawson Deaton tore his ACL. I believe Nick Harris was an ACL tear as well. Eagles wide receiver Britton Covey, he has a thumb sprain. Hopefully he can recover quickly and make his push to make the 53. Broncos running back Melvin Gordon has a right foot contusion, so Javonte Williams stock up there. Dolphins corner Trill Williams, he is done for the year. He also has a torn ACL. 49ers safety Jimmy Ward has a hamstring injury and possibly could miss week 1. Kyle Shanahan saying it is more serious than some of the other guys with hamstrings. Rams running backs Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson Jr., they are dealing with soft tissue injuries. So Coach Sean McVay said that they will not play them unless they are 100%. And then Patriots losing 2 corners for the year. Jawan Williams done for the year. He has a shoulder injury, and they just placed corner Malcolm Butler on IR. There was one NFI list activation. Bengals getting back offensive tackle Lyle Collins. And then PUP activations. Bears linebacker Roquan Smith. Packers offensive lineman Elkton Jenkins. Tight end Robert Tunyon. And wide receiver Christian Watson. Broncos linebacker Randy Gregory. Browns corner Denzel Ward. And Ravens corner Marcus Peters. All big names hoping to get back to 100% by week 1. We have a trade, player for player swap. Eagles sending tight end JJ Arcega-Whiteside, former second-round pick in 2019, to the Seattle Seahawks for defensive back Ugo Amadi. Allows both of those guys to make a push for the final 53. Eagles needed some safety and nickel help. Seahawks looking at wide receiver depth. I think they're going to move him back to wide receiver there. Will JJ AW. Transactions wise here, the Jets, they signed Seahawks offensive tackle Dwayne Brown to a 2-year, $22 million deal. They're going to move left tackle George Fant to right tackle like he played last year. Dwayne Brown will be the new Jets left tackle to protect Joe Flacco in week 1. The Chiefs, they signed Giants defensive tackle Danny Shelton to a 1-year deal, help bolster their interior defensive line there. Bucks signing Raiders defensive end Carl Nassib to a 1-year deal. They need some help outside depth-wise, so they're going to get that with Nassib. Saints signed quarterback KJ Costello, getting some added quarterback depth for the remaining couple of weeks in the preseason. The Broncos signed Steelers linebacker Joe Schobert. Jonas Griffith has an elbow injury for Denver, so Schobert will come in and give them some depth. Dolphins signed Vikings corner Mackenzie Alexander. Loaded corner room in Miami. Alexander has an uphill battle there. The Saints signed Commanders linebacker John Bostic. Probably the weakest part of the Saints defense is the linebackers, if not the defensive tackle spot. But John Bostic, good veteran to have in the building. The Jags, they signed quarterback EJ Perry and they released quarterback Kyle Sloter. So short run for Kyle Sloter. Sad to see him go. Hopefully he can get another shot with someone else. If not, be back in the USFL. The Broncos, some USFL signings. I mentioned the Broncos signed Panthers running back Stevie Scott. The Saints signed Stallions corner Brian Allen, who had a pick in his debut with the New Orleans. And the Texans signed Bandits running back BJ Emmons. The Chiefs, they waived defensive back Lonnie Johnson. He was claimed today by the Titans, who are looking for some corner depth. The Niners released corner Darquez Dennard. I thought that was a weird move for them, considering the injuries to Emmanuel Mosley and Tavarius Ward. But Dennard getting released by San Fran. And with cuts today, the first round of cuts, Ravens cut running back Corey Clement, and the Raiders releasing defensive tackle Vernon Butler and wide receiver Demarcus Robinson, which was eye-opening to say the least. Demarcus Robinson, one of the free agent wide receivers Raiders brought in, kind of to replace Brian Edwards, who they traded to Atlanta. So Robinson services are now available for teams that need receiver help. Okay, NFC South season preview. We have newcomers to the division. Baker Mayfield for the Panthers, Drake London for the Falcons, Jarvis Landry for the Saints, and that is Russell Gage down there for the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Panthers, re-signings wise, they signed wide receiver Brandon Zylstra, tight end Ian Thomas, corner Dante Jackson, safeties Justin Burris and Sean Chandler, and kicker Zane Gonzalez. Free agent signings and trade acquisitions here. They traded for quarterback Baker Mayfield, and they signed running back Deontay Foreman, wide receivers Rashard Higgins and Andre Roberts, guard Austin Corbett, center Bradley Bozeman, defensive end Marquise Haynes, defensive tackle Matthew Ioannidis, linebackers Corey Littleton and Damian Wilson, safety Xavier Woods, and punter Johnny Hecker, who I think is going to be fantastic for them this year. Losses, quarterback Cam Newton, running back Amir Abdullah, guard John Miller, center Matt Paradis, defensive end Morgan Fox, defensive tackle Daquan Jones, linebackers Jermaine Carter Jr. and Hassan Reddick, corners AJ Boye and Stefan Gilmore. It's always interesting to see the same positions were filled by that same position free agent wise. I don't think a lot of their losses were major contributors. Hassan Reddick, definitely the biggest one, probably. Stephon Gilmore did not produce as much as they thought they were going to get when they traded for him last year. But yeah, I think the Reddick one to Philadelphia hurts the most. I think they did a decent job. They have guys already there to fill that spot. But I think biggest free agent signing that they got was Hecker. And I think Austin Corbett was a big get for them, getting him from the Rams to fill the interior O-line. Okay, I have the Panthers going 7-10, 3-3 in the division this year, starting off with a win in Cleveland. I actually have the Panthers starting off 3-0. It gets ugly after that. The first 3 weeks are decent games for them. Home against the Browns, that is going to be without Deshaun Watson, hopefully. Otherwise, the Panthers probably lose that game. But yeah, I think the Panthers can win it in Carolina. Baker Mayfield has extra motivation to beat Cleveland. So I think they get it done at home. They go to New York and they beat the Giants week 2. Week 3, I had them beating the Saints. It's in Carolina. Early on, I'm not sure how Jameis is going to do. The defense for Carolina, I think, will be good enough week 3 to get it done at home over New Orleans. Yeah, then I had them losing 4 straight versus the Cardinals, versus the Niners, at the Rams, and versus the Bucs. That's a gauntlet. They're going to lose all 4 of those games. Probably the best one they have an opportunity at winning, I would say the Cardinals without DeAndre Hopkins. But I still think the Cardinals defense is good enough. And they have those other skill position players, James Conner, Zach Ertz, Trey McBride, etc., to get the passing game going. Week 8 at the Falcons, that is a win. They lose in Cincinnati. Week 9, week 10 is a Thursday night game against the Falcons. They beat them, sweep them. At the Ravens, week 11, that is a loss. Home against the Broncos, week 12, that is a loss. Week 13 bye at the Seahawks, week 14, that is a win. Versus the Steelers, week 15, that is a loss. Week 16 versus the Lions, that is a win. 17 and 18, they lose both at Bucks, at Saints to finish 7-10. Key games, I have 4 starred here. Week 1 against the Browns, obviously, if Deshaun's appeal is still going on, Deshaun plays, they lose that game. Week 3, the Saints, I could see the Panthers losing that game if Jameis is on early in the season. But otherwise, I think I think it could be a Panthers win there. And then the other two, week 10, it's a Thursday night game, prime time win at home against the Falcons, and week 11 at the Ravens. I think that's a sneaky game that the Panthers could possibly get. I think that's I had that one starred. Fantasy wise, you're looking at Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, quarterback. Baker Mayfield's going to win this job. I'm telling you right now. That is the way it's been trending. They played pretty equally in the first game, but I think it's Baker's job to lose. Has picked up the offense very quickly, and I think he will be good in a similar situation like he was in Cleveland. They have a very good running back, one of the best running backs when healthy in the league, in Christian McCaffrey. And they have the receivers, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, and Terrace Marshall there to handle the work. The defense is pretty good, young and up and coming, but has some very good playmakers. So I think Baker gets the job done, and I think Baker would be a good QB2 to have as a bye week fill-in, or if your starter goes down. Running back, Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard. If you're drafting CMC, you're drafting him more than likely number 2 overall. Do yourself a favor. Draft Chuba Hubbard earlier than you would think, so you secure the handcuff, because it hasn't been good the last 2 years. I'm sitting here with my Christian McCaffrey jersey, and it's just it hasn't been good. But we're gonna draft both, right? So make sure always draft your handcuff, especially at the running back position. Wide receivers, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Terrace Marshall. Yeah, these are guys that I don't usually draft. DJ Moore has been productive with subpar quarterback play. I think with the upgrade in Baker Mayfield, look, DJ Moore could be a star this year. He's going to go over 1,000 yards more than likely, probably around 90 catches-ish, 85 to 90 catches, and handful of touchdowns. That's been the only knock on him throughout his career. He hasn't scored more than 4 touchdowns in a season in his career, but could do it this year. Maybe. We'll see. So DJ Moore, I like as a low-end wide receiver 1, very high-end wide receiver 2. Robbie Anderson has gone down very sharply in fantasy value. I still think he has some as a wide receiver 3 if you can get in there. I am probably not going to draft him. I've learned my lesson the last couple of years. And then Terrace Marshall doesn't have any value right now. Possibly if you're picking him up in Dynasty, or he's an extra piece added in a trade, you can take him and sit him on your bench for your Dynasty team, or if you have a taxi squad, that's a good spot for him. I think eventually if Robbie Anderson leaves when his contract is up next year, I think Terrace Marshall, you could see the expanded role and possibly get the rewards with him. Tight ends, Tommy Tremble, Ian Thomas. I don't like either. Tommy Tremble, I do like-ish. Ian Thomas, I'm not a fan of. He just has been so bad for the Panthers. And so I'm not drafting either, though. Don't draft the Panthers tight end. I don't think they're worth it. The Panthers defense. Look, I think this defense is going to be low-key very good. They have the pass rushers, Brian Burns, Yeturgos Matos, Marquise Haynes, not the Cowboys fullback, Daryl Johnson, and then they drafted Amari Barno as well. And the defensive tackles are very good as well. Derek Brown should be one of the better ones. Matt Ioannidis has been great in his career in Washington. Bravion Roy, Davian Nixon, and Phil Hoskins there. The linebackers, Shaq Thompson is a star. Corey Littleton they signed. They also got Damian Wilson as well this offseason. Frankie Louvu has been a solid guy for them. They drafted Brandon Smith, who has been making some plays in camp. And then the secondary, I think, is going to be very good. Dante Jackson, J.C. Horn, C.J. Henderson has been making plays. So is Keith Taylor. They have Kalen Barnes that they drafted. Xavier Woods they signed. And they have one of the better safeties in the league, Jeremy Chin. They also have Justin Burris and Sean Chandler, who they kept, Kenny Robinson, Miles Hartsfield as well. So I think the defense is going to be good. Would I draft them? No. I think they're going to be they're not going to be good enough to get to be a starting caliber fantasy defense. So not going to be a top 12 defense. I think they're going to be just outside that mid-tier 15, 16, around that area of the NFL. Good bye week defense, I think, depending on when your bye is. And then special teams wise, yeah, Zane Gonzalez, Johnny Hecker's gonna be good. Andre Roberts could provide some boost, but not enough to get into the top 12. Kicker, Zane Gonzalez, I think it's gonna be very good. I think he's a starting caliber kicker potentially. If not, he's just like the defense. He's right on the edge of being a starting kicker there in fantasy. So I think he's a good option if you ran out of options or if you need a good bye week fill-in. Rookies for the Panthers, there's only one offensive rookie to talk about for Carolina. It's Matt Corral. You're looking at him for Dynasty. I think it's a good option. Obviously, he didn't show a lot. His value went down this weekend. So maybe it's a good time to pounce and buy low on Matt Corral. Sit him this year on your Dynasty team. Hope he matures and develops. And possibly you can reap the rewards either next season or the year after that. All right, the Atlanta Falcons, re-signings wise, running back Cordell Patterson, wide receiver Olamide Zaccheaus, corner Isaiah Oliver, safety Eric Harris, and kicker Younghoe Koo. Free agent signings, trade acquisitions, signed quarterback Marcus Mariota, running back Damian Williams, tight end Anthony Ferkser, wide receiver Damiere Byrd, traded for wide receiver Brian Edwards. They signed wide receiver Kadero Hodge and Auden Tate, tackle Jermaine Ifedi, linebackers Lorenzo Carter, Rashawn Evans, and Nick Kwiatkowski, corner Casey Hayward, safety Dean Marlowe, punter Bradley Pinion, and long snapper Bo Brinkley. Losses wise, quarterbacks AJ McCarron, Josh Rosen. They traded away quarterback Matt Ryan. They lost running back Mike Davis, wide receivers Russell Gage and Tajay Sharp, tight end Hayden Hurst, defensive end Dante Fowler Jr., defensive tackles Jonathan Bullard and Tyler Davison, linebacker Foye Oluokun, corners Fabian Moreau and Kendall Sheffield, safety Deron Harmon, long snapper Josh Harris, and punter Thomas Morstead. So it's interesting. The Falcons, being not a good team last year, they lost a lot of key players. Russell Gage, I think, was a big one. Hayden Hurst, backup tight end, but still, I think, a key part. Dante Fowler and Jonathan Bullard, I think, were keys to their pass rush outside of Grady Jarrett. I think Fowler hurts a lot worse than Bullard, obviously, but Oluokun was a tackling machine last year. He's going to hurt missing him in the middle, especially with the Deion Jones injury. Corners, they need some corners. AJ Terrell turned into a star last year, but needs some help outside of him. And then Morstead for Pinion. I think Pinion is probably an upgrade on that respect. But yeah, Marcus Mariota is obviously going to be the key guy in this free agent class for them. They're hoping to get a good chunk of work out of Brian Edwards and Anthony Ferkser as well. Ferkser filling as the tight end 2 there. Lorenzo Carter, they're hoping to get some pass rush out of him. Evans and Kwiatkowski, they need them to step up at the inside linebacker spots. And then Hayward, they're hoping helps in the secondary. Okay, I have the Falcons going 3-14. I don't like the team. They're very bad. It's not good. So 0-6 in division, 3-14. I saw someone place a bet today on BR betting for the Falcons to go 0-6 in division, and I have them doing that. It's plus 500 right now, I think, on DraftKings, and that it was a 2,000 or $5,000 bet, $10,000 payout, or $2,000 bet. Yeah, $5,000 payout or $10,000 payout. I mean, yeah, $2,000 to win $10,000. I think that person's going to win that bet. I would take that bet as well. So week 1, home against the Saints, that's a loss. At the Rams, loss. They do beat the Seahawks in Seattle. Home against the Browns, that is a loss. Even with Jacoby Brissett, that's a loss. The Browns are too good, the rest of their roster. At the Bucks is a loss. Home against the Niners, at the Bengals, home against the Panthers, home against the Chargers, at the Panthers on Thursday Night Football, all losses. That's 7 in a row. Home against the Bears week 11, that is a win. They get back-to-back wins at the Commanders as well. They lose home against the Steelers. They have a week 14 bye, the last week of bye weeks. And then finish up 4 straight losses at the Saints, at the Ravens, home against the Cardinals, and home against the Bucks. It's just a very tough schedule for a team that doesn't have as much talent as a lot of other teams. I have 4 starred games on the schedule. 3 out of their 4 are their wins. At Seattle, week 3, why couldn't Drew Lock or Geno Smith beat the Falcons? I mean, I couldn't tell you a reason why they couldn't. So, yeah, I could see Seattle winning that game. Week 10 is the Thursday night game at the Panthers. That's a loss. I don't think they beat the Panthers this year. I don't think they beat any of their division opponents this year. Like I said, 0-6, I have them in division. Week 11, home against the Bears. Again, the same thing as Seattle. The Bears, I could see a way that the Bears could beat the Falcons. And then at the Commanders, that's the probably upset of their 3 wins. In Washington, I definitely could see the Commanders beating the Falcons here. Yeah, I mean I don't see many other chances for them to win this year, unless Marcus Mariota just shines. The Niners game is one I could see possibly. I said I don't like Trey Lance. They could beat they could win one of the 2 Panthers games or one of the other divisional games. Who knows? It's division. So, but yeah, I have them 3-14 up there, possibly getting the number 1 pick next year. And drafting a quarterback. So fantasy wise, quarterback Marcus Mariota, I don't like him. Like I said, I don't like the team. We could see Desmond Ridder this year, possibly. But yeah, I'm not drafting Mariota at all. Running back Cordell Patterson, Damian Williams. Now, Cordell Patterson is an intriguing case. I don't like it. He has feelings of 1-year wonder for me, anyways. So I'm not drafting Patterson. Damian Williams is a guy I have on my 1 dynasty league right now. I put him on the trade block. I don't think he's going to be there for long. Tyler Algier is probably going to supplant him. Kind of an allude to foreshadowing of my feelings of the rookie running back there. But yeah, I don't like Damian Williams either. Brian Edwards, Olamide Zaccheaus at wide receiver. Yeah, no, don't do it. Don't draft either. Don't roster either. Edwards is a possibility as a wide receiver 3. I could see that. Zaccheaus, I don't think has any value though. Tight end Kyle Pitts. Now this is the guy you want. This is the tight end you want. You want Kyle Pitts on your team. He's gonna be the number 1 option in the passing game. And he should, I think, improve upon his season last year, which he had the second best tight season in NFL history for a rookie tight end, just short of Ditka's yardage record. So, yeah, I think Kyle Pitts is definitely a starting tight end in fantasy top 12, top 5 potential. The Atlanta defense, no, I don't. There's no chance. They're going to be a bottom quarter defense in the league. They do have some guys like Grady Jarrett Deion Jones, who has been out this whole preseason. Rashawn Evans and Lorenzo Carter, they got in free agency. They've drafted Michael Walker and signed Kwiatkowski. They drafted Troy Anderson this year at line. All these guys at linebacker. They drafted Ebiketie this year to be the bookend to Lorenzo Carter. There's not enough here to like. Their secondary might be the best unit on the team, but even so, I don't think they're going to be very good. They do have a very good returner, though. Avery Williams was amazing at Boise State, but yeah, no, don't draft them, don't roster them. Kicker Younghoe Koo. Look, Younghoe Koo was a great fantasy kicker last year, and why couldn't he do it again this year? Has money in the bank. Yeah, I could see Koo being having another good season and being a starting fantasy kicker. So take him. All right, rookies. I already kind of talked about running back Tyler Algier. I could see Algier by the end of the year being the starting running back for the Atlanta Falcons, especially if Cordell Patterson ends up getting injured. But Damian Williams, I don't think he's going to be enough to stop Algier. Algier is a bruising back rookie out of BYU. I very much like him, and I think that he could supplant those two top guys to get the top spot by the end of the year, especially if the Falcons are out of it. They're going to want to see what they have in their rookies and give them more time. Quarterback Desmond Ridder. I mentioned him in the preseason game recap there. Not that good. He did lead them to the win over Detroit. I have him on my dynasty team, trying to get rid of him right now. I have too many quarterbacks. I got auto drafted Desmond Ridder, unfortunately. So he's a guy that's worth keeping. Obviously, he's a rookie quarterback. Definitely worth rostering. I'm not that big of a fan. But he does have capabilities. And like I say, he did bring them back against the Lions, so he could, and we could see him this year. With the Falcons, I have him 3-14. Definitely, we could see Desmond Ridder coming and playing this season. Wide receiver Drake London is an iffy one. Before this week, I would have said yes, he is going to be great. I do love Drake London. Fantasy now, his redraft value has taken a big hit with him getting hurt. Not sure how long he's going to be out. I don't think he'll play the rest of the preseason. So I have to wait and see if he's there week 1. So draft with caution. But I do think Drake London is a great dynasty option. If you're in your rookie draft, most definitely you got to draft Drake London in the first round. Okay, the New Orleans Saints re-signings here. Jameis Winston, quarterback, wide receiver Traquan Smith, and corner PJ Williams. That's all. We know the Saints. They usually don't do too much in free agency and the offseason. They don't have money usually to do stuff. Free agent signings, though: quarterback Andy Dalton, running back Malcolm Brown, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, center Nick Martin, defensive ends Taco Charlton and Kentavious Street, and safeties Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, and Daniel Sorensen. Their losses wise: quarterbacks Blake Bortles and Trevor Siemian, running back Ty Montgomery, wide receivers Lil Jordan Humphrey and Kenny Stills, left tackle Teron Armstead, linebacker Quan Alexander, and safeties Jeff Heath, Marcus Williams, and Malcolm Jenkins. Jenkins retired this offseason. So I think Armstead was the biggest loss. Most definitely, when you lose your left tackle, that's tough. Like I said, they usually don't have any money. They didn't have the money to sign him to a massive deal. Marcus Williams also, that was a weird one because they let Marcus Williams go, but then they paid Marcus May. So I didn't really understand why they let Williams go if they were going to pay a safety anyways. Like the Tyrann Mathieu addition, he's going to be a good locker room guy. His play has fallen off a little bit the last 2 seasons in Kansas City. That's why they didn't re-sign him, and that's why he had to wait a little bit for the Saints to get interested. I think Jarvis Landry is going to be a big boost to their receiving core. Going to be their starting slot guy to help out Michael Thomas as he returns from injury, and their rookie Chris Olave. Schedule wise, I have the Saints going 11-6, 5-1 in the division. Week 1, they start out 3 straight against division opponents. They go 2-1. They don't lose the one that you'd think they would lose, though. At the Falcons, that is a win week 1. Week 2 versus the Bucs, they win. Look, Tom Brady hasn't beaten the Saints in the regular season since becoming a Tampa Bay Buck, and it's not going to start this year. Week 3 at the Panthers, that is a loss. Like I said, I could see the Saints winning that game, but I have it as a loss right now. It's in Carolina. Week 4, they go to London to play the Vikings. That's a home game for the Saints. That is a win. Win at home against the Seahawks. They lose at home to the Bengals. Lose at the Cardinals on Thursday Night Football. That is the first game that DeAndre Hopkins will be back for. So I think big boost for the Cards at home. They get the win on that one. They beat the Saints. They lose at home to the Raiders week 8. Week 9, they win on Monday night at home against the Ravens. They win in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. Week 10, they lose to the Rams at home. Beat the 49ers in San Fran. They beat the Bucs in Tampa on Monday Night Football. Week 14 bye. Home against the Falcons week 15, at the Browns week 16. They win those. They lose week 17 at the Eagles, and then they win at home against the Panthers week 18, 11-6, 5-1. I have a lot of games get starred here, almost all of them. Week 2, home against the Bucs. Look, I said it already. The Bucs haven't beat the Saints with Tom Brady in the regular season. So I think the Saints have number. Dennis Allen has Tom Brady's number, and they're going to get it done again this year. At the Panthers, week 3, like I said, I could see the Saints winning that. That would push them to 12-5. Week 4, Vikings game. That's a London game. That's why that one is starred. Week 6 through 13 are all starred. Look, you got marquee games against the Bengals. That's a tough one. That's a loss. I think it's too much firepower for the Saints defense to hold. At the Cardinals, Thursday Night Football, that's a loss. Like I said, probably the Saints could win that, but I think it's going to be too much traveling all the way to Arizona, and then also getting the rejuvenized Cardinals having D-Hop back. Going to be too much for the Saints to overcome. Week 8, I could see the Saints winning week 8. Home against the Raiders. I just thought that Derek Carr and Devontae Adams were going to be too much. Week 9, that's a Monday night game. That is also another marquee game against the Ravens, playoff contender there. I have them winning that one. So good win for them. At the Steelers, week 10, I could see a scenario where they lose because TJ Watt just destroys Trevor Penning on the left side. So yeah, could be a loss there. Week 10 in Pittsburgh. Week 11, that is the Rams game. That is a loss. Defending Super Bowl champs are going to be too much offensively for the Saints defense. Week 12 at the 49ers. I could see that as a win. Again, I'm not a Trey Lance guy. I've said it way too many times this show, but I do have them winning that one. Yeah. I think the Saints are going to be too good for San Fran. Defensively, they're gonna make Trey Lance struggle, and offensively, I think the 49ers corner concerns are going to come into play against the Saints receivers. Week 13, that's a Monday night game. Their second game against the Bucs in Tampa. That is a win. Again, I said it multiple times already, but the Saints will continue to frustrate Tom Brady, and they will sweep him again in the regular season. And then last 2 I have starred for the Saints: at the Browns, at the Eagles, weeks 16 and 17. They win against Cleveland, lose against Philadelphia. It might be a homer pick for the Eagles, but in Philadelphia is a tough crowd to please. In Cleveland, week 16, I don't know. That was kind of a gut pick. I could see them flipping that game to a loss, possibly. Just like the Eagles, they could beat the Eagles. I could see that game being a coin flip as well. Fantasy wise, quarterback Jameis Winston. I love him. Draft him. He's not going to be drafted high because of the ACL injury from last year. I think you could get him lower and have one of the best fantasy quarterbacks this year. He showed it last year early on that he was going to be a monster. That was with Sean Payton calling the plays. It's now Harold Carmichael, I believe. But I think Jameis will be very good this year. And I'm a big believer in Jameis this year. I think he's going to be good. They added some offense. They had some weapons. So, yeah, I would definitely draft Jameis. And you can get him in that like mid-tier of quarterbacks, just like, with guys. Trying to think who are down there, like Kirk Cousins and those kind of guys down in the middle rounds. Running back Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. Look, Alvin Kamara is very good. I am not touching him though. The possible suspension scares me too much, and it outweighs what Kamara does on the field. I'm also scared that he's not going to get as many receptions because he didn't last year. So, yeah, I'm staying away from Kamara. Definitely worth drafting in the first round. Personally, though, I just do not like it. I'm too scared of the suspension. That's why I have Mark Ingram listed, because Mark Ingram, I think, is a sneaky play later on in the draft. If you're drafting before this possible suspension comes out, you can get Mark Ingram very valuable in a very valuable spot late in the draft, maybe even undrafted. Will be Mark Ingram. So, yeah, Mark Ingram, I think, is definitely a guy that you're going to want on your roster for the first couple weeks anyways. Definitely, if you're drafting Kamara, you have to handcuff. Just like Christian McCaffrey with Chuba Hubbard, you have to get Mark Ingram if you're drafting Kamara. Wide receivers, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry. Look, Michael Thomas is scary. He was the best receiver in football in 2019. Injured 2020, injured 2021. That's why it's scary. He could be one of the best receivers in the NFL, but the uncertainty of his injuries, I'm just not. I don't like uncertainty. So I'm not drafting him. If it comes to it and I'm in a pickle and I don't know who to draft, and he's there, yeah, I guess I'll draft him, just take a flyer on him. But if it's not a valuable selection with matching the round value to what I feel about him, I'm probably not going to draft him. Jarvis Landry is a guy I could see as wide receiver 3 this year. Wide receiver 2 upside, though, I think, with the offense that Jameis will run there in New Orleans. So Landry is a guy you can draft later, and definitely get some, like I said, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 upside. Tight ends, Adam Trotman, Taysom Hill, not a fan of either. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to start Taysom at tight end and quarterback like we did last year. But yeah, Trotman is a guy that the Saints, we've been waiting on him, and he just has not turned into anything. So I don't know. Maybe the Michael Thomas coming back, Jarvis Landry, Chris Olave, and then Jameis coming back as well will open it up for him. But I am not too optimistic on Trotman. Saints defense, I love them. I think they're going to be very good. The linebackers are sort of iffy with Caden Ellis and Pete Warner beside Demario Davis in the middle. But they have depth there. Their secondary is one of the best secondaries in the league. And I think if they can get a good season out of Marcus Davenport, Cam Jordan can get some help. And then they have some depth at defensive line as well. I think the Saints are definitely a startable fantasy defense. They're going up against some really good offenses in the NFC West. The Rams, the Cardinals, the Raiders, possibly the 49ers, but they also are playing, the Eagles, the Browns, the Ravens, the Steelers could be good, the Bengals, and obviously the Bucks twice. So they're going they have a tough schedule, but I like them to be just into that starting 12 defenses. And special teams, they have Deontay Hardy, who is one of the best returners in the NFL. Kicker Will Lutz, I love him. He's coming back from injury this year, had core muscle injury, kept him out all of last year. He's one of the best kickers. He's going to be a top 5 kicker this season on a high-powered Saints offense. Take him. And rookie, there's only one guy, wide receiver Chris Olave. I've mentioned him multiple times. Definitely get him in Dynasty if you can. Not sure what his value is going to be this year. I think wide receiver 2 is his height this season. Maybe he only produces wide receiver 3 with Landry and Thomas. But Olave is definitely a guy you need to have in your Dynasty team. And then Tampa Bay. Let's get into the Bucks here. Last team on the docket. The re-signings for Tampa: quarterback Blaine Gabbert, running back Gio Bernard, running back Leonard Fournette, wide receivers Chris Godwin and Brashad Perriman, guard Aaron Stinney, center Ryan Jensen, unfortunately done for the year, defensive end William Golston, corner Carlton Davis, and long snapper Zach Triner. Free agent signings and trade acquisitions: wide receivers Russell Gage and Julio Jones, tight end Kyle Rudolph. They traded for guard Shaq Mason. They also signed D-tackle Akeem Hicks, safety Keanu Neal, and defensive back Logan Ryan. Losses: running back Ronald Jones, tight ends Rob Gronkowski and OJ Howard. Gronk retired. Guards Alex Kappa and Ali Marpet. Marpet also retiring. Defensive end Jason Pierre-Paul, defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh, linebacker Kevin Minter, corner Richard Sherman, safety Jordan Whitehead, and punter Bradley Pinion. A lot of big names on that loss sheet, but I think they did a good job of filling those needs. Getting back Fournette at running back, Godwin at wide receiver, Jensen at center, and Golston at defensive end, and Davis at corner was a very good job on the part of Jason Light, their GM. And then getting guys like Russell Gage, Julio Jones to fill the bottom of the wide receiver, the middle of the wide receiver depth chart, I should say. And then Rudolph, a guy that's been serviceable throughout his career, going to help Brady and Cam Brate there. Shaq Mason fills the Marpet retirement and the Kappa departure there. And then Akeem Hicks fills the Ndamukong Suh role. Keanu Neal fills Jordan Whitehead's spot. Logan Ryan fills Richard Sherman's spot. So I think they did a good job of filling their needs there in free agency and the draft. 11-6 for me for Tampa Bay this year. Again, it's very tough. They play the NFC West and the NFC East. Or no, they play the NFC West and the AFC North. So very tough divisions to play. And then their cross division games are the NFC East, the NFC North. Yeah. NFC East and NFC North and AFC West. Yeah. But I have 4-2 in the division, so they finished second because of the divisional record. Week 1 at the Cowboys, Sunday Night Football, that's a win. At the Saints, week 2, that's a loss. Home against the Packers, week 3, that is a win. They win at home against the Chiefs on Sunday night, week 4. They beat the Falcons at home, week 5. Week 6, they lose in Pittsburgh. They beat the Panthers in Carolina, week 7. Thursday night, week 8, they are home against the Ravens. That is a win. They lose week 9 home against the Rams. They beat the Seahawks. That is a home game. Week 10 in Munich, Germany. They have a bye week 11. They lose in Cleveland week 12. to Deshaun Watson. They lose week 13 against the Saints at home on Monday Night Football. They win at San Francisco. They lose at home against the Bengals. They beat the Cardinals in Arizona on Sunday night, week 16. They beat the Panthers at home, and they beat the Falcons in Atlanta, week 18. Starred games, just like the Saints, almost all of their games I have starred. Weeks 1 through 4 at the Cowboys, at the Saints, home against the Packers, home against the Chiefs. Cowboys and Chiefs games are Sunday Night Football. They're on the Sunday Night Football 3 times this year. Crazy. But yeah, it's a gauntlet to start the season. At the Cowboys, at the Saints, home against the Packers, home against the Chiefs. I have them going 3-1. That's a great start to the season for Tampa. Week 6 at the Steelers. I could see that flipping to a win for the Bucks. Definitely an option there. Week 8 through 10. Thursday night at home against the Ravens. I have them winning. Marquee game against a playoff contender. Week 9, Super Bowl champs go to Tampa. I think they lose that game against the Rams. The Rams get them for the second game in a row. And then week 10 is the special Munich, Germany game, which is a home game technically for the Bucks against the Seahawks. It's an easy win. And then I have weeks 12 through 16 starred at the Browns, home against the Saints on Monday night, at the 49ers, home against the Bengals, and at the Cardinals on Sunday night. Another gauntlet stretch in the season that I have them going 2-3, losing to the Browns in Cleveland, losing to the Saints on Monday night at home, beating the 49ers in San Francisco, losing to the Bengals at home, and beating the Cardinals in Arizona on Sunday night. That's a tough late season stretch, but they're coming out of the bye to that Cleveland game. So maybe that is a win, possibly. If they can quell their issues against the Saints, maybe they win one of those 2 games and split the season series. That would get them into the division, I think. It would get them in the division. And then maybe they can beat the Bengals. I don't know. We'll have to see how the secondary shakes out for Tampa Bay. Fantasy wise, Tom Brady, yes. Just yes. He has been a fantasy marvel at 40 plus years old. He's now turned 45 and will continue to be such. Draft him. He's going to be a top 6 fantasy quarterback with Godwin returning. He still has Evans. He's going to be throwing to Brate, Kyle Rudolph, Russell Gage, Julio Jones. Yeah, take him. Not too high, though. Running back, Leonard Fournette. Look, Fournette is a guy, playoff Lenny, yeah. He's good in the regular season. I think he's going to have a downtick this year. They have some younger guys, Rashad White, Keyshawn Vaughn. Not going to be the same this year. I traded him away in my Dynasty League because I got him last year for lower than what I traded him away for. So positive ROI on that trade. But yeah, I do like Leonard Fournette just as an RB2. I don't think he's going to be RB1. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Russell Gage. Look, Mike Evans, definitely. He's going to be a wide receiver 1. He's going to fill the red zone targets mainly from Gronk's departure. So I think Mike Evans is going to be a touchdown machine this year. And also he's going for his 9th straight 1,000-yard season to begin his career. No other receiver has done it more than 7 times, which he has already done 8. Chris Godwin coming off the ACL. I think he's in a good spot to get drafted. I don't know what his ADP is right now, but I'm sure it's low enough that you can feel comfortable drafting him as a possible wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. Russell Gage is the guy that's a wide receiver 3 for me with wide receiver 2 upside. It's a high-powered offense. So why couldn't there be 3 wide receiver 2 or 2 wide receiver 1s and 1 wide receiver 2 in fantasy? I think that'd be perfectly fine. Russell Gage is a guy you can definitely draft. Possible. Tight ends, Cameron Brake, Kyle Rudolph. I don't really like either. Cam Brate is a guy you can draft as your backup tight end if you are rostering one. Definitely Cam Brate has tight end 2 potential filling in for Gronk. I just don't know how it's going to split between him, Rudolph, and rookie tight end Kate Otten. So we'll have to see how these snaps shake out. But yeah, Brate's definitely a guy rosterable as your tight end 2. Tampa defense, I like it. They are still good. They might have lost some guys, but they're very, very good still. Joe Tryon Soyinka should continue to develop, and he has Shaq Barrett still opposite him. Cam Gill, Anthony Nelson, we saw those 2 guys on the Bucks defensive stat sheet there on the preseason game. They should continue to develop, and then they just signed Carl Nassib, so the pass rush should continue to be unaffected, even with JPP not returning right now. Devin White, Levante David are still probably the best linebacker tandem in the NFL. And then they got William Golston back. They drafted Logan Hall. They signed Akeem Hicks, and they still have Vita Vea in the middle there. Secondary is fine. Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting. They drafted Zion McCollum, Antoine Winfield Jr., Logan Ryan at safety, and then Mike Edwards, Keanu Neal as well. Should be very good there. Jalen Darden as the main returner. Not going to move the needle for me, but defense overall, I think should be top 10 fantasy wise. And I like them, draft them. I'm keeping them. Kicker Ryan Suckup, yes, I would draft him as well. High-powered offense. He's going to score a lot of points, I think. Not the best field goal kicker, but definitely I think he's a top 12 guy startable in fantasy. Rookies, running back Rachaad White. Yeah, I was surprised to see he's listed as the number 2 running back right now. He's going to get passing down duties and RB2 touches. So maybe he isn't an RB2 this year, but definitely you're going to draft him in Dynasty. He's going to be the running back of the future with whoever the quarterback is coming down the line. Tight end Kate Otten. Look, this guy I absolutely love. I hate the Kyle Rudolph signing because it limits Kate Otten's usage this season. Because I thought Kate Otten eventually would be able to ascend to the tight end 1 role. But with Rudolph there, now he's the tight end 3. Has to work to get up to tight end 1 a lot harder than he would have with only Cam Brate in his way. But I think Kate Otten is a guy I love in Dynasty. Definitely, if you need a tight end or a backup tight end, you can get Kate Otten on your Dynasty team. Alrighty. That is the NFC South preview. So ACC preview. Here we have the ACC Coastal on the left, the ACC Atlantic division on the left, the ACC Coastal division on the right. Look, I have Clemson winning the ACC Atlantic. They're ranked number 4 for a reason. I think their defense is going to be very good this year. I am not a DJ Uyunglele guy. I think their backup quarterback, I am blanking on the kid's name. They have a freshman 5-star kid that came in. I think he's going to end up being the guy. So we'll see how DJ does, but I do like Clemson to win the division. They're going to get stiff competition from NC State. NC State is a veteran squad, returning Devin Leary, and a lot of other guys. They have Ricky Person returning. Or no, they don't. He is with the Ravens. Never mind. So they're gonna have to break some new running backs in, but I think they should be all right. Even without Zonovan Knight and Ricky Person, they still have Amika Emezi at wide receiver, as well as Thayer Thomas and Devin Carter. So, yeah, those guys should provide a spark and NC State should push Clemson. A big date for them is October 1st in Death Valley. So like NC State's second. Malik Cunningham leads the Louisville Cardinals to a third place division finish. I really like Malik Cunningham, and he is a really good passer. He kind of looks like Lamar Jackson. Obviously, they went to the same school, but I think Malik Cunningham is more of an elite passer than Lamar was. So, yeah, give me Louisville as the third in the Atlantic. Boston College, Phil Dracovic for BC returns. Like BC to finish fourth there. The Wake Forest thing, yeah. Sam Hartman injury is massive for me. That drops them all the way to fifth. I was probably going to have them finishing third behind NC State and Clemson with Sam Hartman. But yeah, it's fifth for me, possibly even lower, depending on how that new quarterback does. Florida State is sixth and Syracuse seventh. I don't know too much about who they have returning. Florida State. Jordan Travis should return at quarterback. Mackenzie Milton gone now. But they do have no, Jayshon Corbin is gone at running back. So Trayshawn Ward should be your lead guy there. And yeah, they lost some receivers. But yeah, Florida State, I don't really like. They don't have a good solid quarterback situation. Syracuse, never know with them. They always look like they could upset some people, specifically Clemson. Garrett Strader returns, Tommy DeVito as well. Sean Tucker back. Sean Tucker. So actually Syracuse could be a lot better than people think. Courtney Jackson at wide receiver. Damian Alford at wide receiver as well. So Syracuse, I think I'm going to move Syracuse up with the return of Sean Tucker is a very good running back who I think will make the NFL eventually. So I'm going to move Syracuse to sixth, and I don't think I'm going to move them up above Wake Forest yet, but I could see that happening. I could see Syracuse finishing as high as fifth in the division. Coastal division wise, Miami. It's Miami or bust right now. Tyler Van Dyke is pushing to be the first quarterback taken, or at least a first round pick. Has to show improvement this year under Mario Cristobal, new head coach in Miami. Pitt, I'm taking Pitt to finish second, and that's high, I think, for them. But I have to wait and see for Keaton Slovis to solidify my selection as Pitt as the second team in that division. Should have a very good defense. Pat Narduzzi always does. So hopefully the offense can catch up and Pitt can sustain what they had with Kenny Pickett and Jordan Addison last year. UNC breaking in a new quarterback. I have them finishing third. They could drop farther though. I think it should be Jacoby Criswell. He was the guy that had the second most passing yards last year. Drake May as well there, but they lost a lot. Sam Howell, Ty Chandler. They do still have Josh Downs, however, who is one of the best receivers in the country, as well as Antoine Green. So with those two guys, I think they should be all right at receiver, but I could see them being even lower. Virginia Tech is next in the Coastal here. And yeah, they have Braxton Burmeister returning, or no, he is with San Diego State. Never mind. So they are breaking in a new quarterback, Connor Blumrick, as they lost Blackshear at running back, Raheem Blackshear, we talked about with the Bills. But they did not have Trey Turner. Tavion Robinson. Okay, so Virginia Tech is going to be lower for me. I think that Virginia actually could move up to third in the division just because they have Brennan Armstrong returning for his senior year. Very good quarterback, threw for over 4,400 yards last year with 31 touchdowns, 10 picks. They have Talapapa transferred. They do still have Dontavian Wicks, though. Dontavian Wicks, Keaton Thompson at wide receiver, as well as Billy Kemp. So, yeah, the wide receivers are still good. They're looking at a new tight end with Jelani Woods to the NFL, new running back as well. I think the offense should be very good. I'm going to move Virginia to the third spot and supplant UNC and move Virginia Tech down to fifth, because I just don't know what they're going to do with a lot of lost production at the skill positions. But Brent Pry, love Brent Pry, miss him. I hate that he's gone from Penn State. Hopefully he does well at Virginia Tech, though. He always has good defenses. Virginia Tech usually has good defenses as a whole. So I think their defense is going to be pretty good. I'm going to give Virginia Tech a leg up, but I'm still gonna move them down to the fifth spot there. Georgia Tech, look, Jeff Sims returns. He's going into his third season, I think, starting, right? No, he's a sophomore, second season, but still, look, Jeff Sims. I believe in Jeff Sims. He didn't do that great, but and they lost Jahmyr Gibbs, their number one running back, to Alabama. They lost number 2 running back to the NFL. But Dante Smith returns. And Jeff Sims ran for 372 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground last year. So why not? Malachi Carter returns at wide receiver, I think, for them. I think Georgia Tech could finish, though. I'm sticking with them at 6 in that division. Definitely Duke is just a dumpster fire on the football side. And Gunnar Holmberg transferred to FIU. Riley Leonard is there still, but Mateo Durant gone. He is with the Steelers now at running back. And their leading receiver from last year, Jake Bobo, he is with UCLA. So, yeah, I don't believe in Duke at all. But I will tell you this. Clemson's going to beat Miami in the ACC championship game. Clemson better be ready week 1. I'm telling you this right now. Clemson plays Georgia Tech in the Chick-fil-A kickoff game week number 1, right? September 5th. That's a home game for Tech. Right downtown. Clemson better be ready. Clemson is on. I am putting Clemson on upset alert week 1. Just telling you right now. Georgia Tech will probably lose by 40 points, and I'll look stupid, but that's fine. But yeah, here are my ACC picks. Clemson, Miami, facing off the ACC championship game with Clemson winning the ACC once again. Next week, I think, well, actually, this will be the Friday show. So next Monday we'll have a different preview, but next Monday, though, we'll have preseason week 3, preseason week 2 recaps, and we'll probably be doing a different division than the AFC South, any different conference than the American. Probably going to be the Big 12 instead, but yeah, we'll be having season preview and another college football preseason preview. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media. You can see them here at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter. This is our Twitter. This is our Instagram. And then at FAA Bet _bets as well on Twitter. www.faa FAApodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Thank y'all for watching. Sorry about the laptop turning off, but we will see y'all back on Friday.